Well, the Supreme Court knows better. The Supreme Court is the Supreme Court. What the Supreme Court says represents the law. We respect it. We go by it. There is no other way. We had hoped that it would come our way, but it has gone the other way. It simply means that we have to go back to the High Court and get done with this quickly. We still have hope. We are not in despair.
By the grace of God,
yes, so
victory is assured.
Yes, we will. We will lose a little time. We still have to go back. That's all it means. But I'm very consoled by what the Supreme Court said, that he ought not to have been treated the way he was treated. His bail ought not to have been revoked. His home ought to have been invaded. All that is a consolation to us. So we have hope.
It's indeed a very sad day today. If you looked at the judgment, the court showed empathy in the way the rendition was conducted, the torture, the treatment meted out to Nnamdi. It's just a technical matter, just like the counsels for Nnamdi has stated. But I'm sure they are going back to the drawing board, starting again from the High Court all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is sympathetic to the plight of Nnamdi, and I believe there's hope at the end of the tunnel.
Well, if in recent times you're listening to the commentaries of most Nigerians, there is now a process of judicial rascality, because if the Supreme Court condemns all the processes, especially the rendition that brought him back to Nigeria, and you're not asking that he goes back to the Federal High Court for the trial to start, I feel it's a lot of injustice. It's a lot of injustice in all forms of jurisprudence. So all I will say that we just leave it in the hands of God at the end of the day. How can somebody... It's difficult to make a comment, because when you listen to the judgment when it started, it was clear that they accepted the illegality committed by the federal government of Nigeria in all aspects of it. And yet you went on to this, to remove the judgment of the appeal court because of lack of jurisdiction, which they learned about the lower court. I don't think that is fairness in any consideration, but they say that they are final because it's the Supreme Court. They are also infallible because it is the final court of the land. So we'll go back to the Federal High Court and hopefully we'll probably request that a bail is granted at that level. So for me, it's a win-win affair. At least something has seriously started, and I hope that the process at the Federal High Court will be, that will be expedited so that the young man can come and be useful to his society. But the only unfortunate thing is that the insecurity in Nigeria, and especially in the southeast, will be worsened off because people don't believe what is happening in this country anymore. So if the Supreme Court of Nigeria is not even looking at the implications of what is going on, Boko Haram is on, bandits are on, IPOB is on. So where is the country that we're all looking forward to? May God bless this country. Thank you very much.
For the camera, sir. For those who do not know, sir.
Sorry?
For those who do not know, your name for the camera, sir. Your name.
I'm Chief Dan Olasi. I'm Chief Dan Olasi, and an Igbo small statesman.
If you ask me, I would say this is victory to administration of criminal justice, because it shows that once you are an accused person, once you are a defendant, no matter what excuse you want to bring to hide under the law to say that you should not be tried, the Supreme Court have expressly, unequivocally stated clearly that we don't have the legislation that will vitiate the court from trying a defendant that has committed a crime. You must be tried for every offense you have committed.
Exactly, sir. But does this not embolden the security agencies? Because now the court has said that, irrespective of the fact that it was extraordinary rendition, that does not subject the trial to illegality. Does it mean that the security agencies will, moving forward, can do what they like and believe that civil procedures can be filed against them?
No, I think that's not the point that the court made. You saw that the court came very heavy on the security agencies, where they have in any way impaired on the rights, the fundamental rights of the defendant. However, our laws have made very clear provision for remedy where there's such infraction on the right of the defendant, then you can such a defendant can go to the civil court and then seek for civil remedies for the violation of his fundamental rights. And that is why, of course, we have the fundamental rights enforcement, for which the defendant, the respondent, which is the defendant in this case, have actually activated. And you are aware that he has gone to the civil court and he has gotten some judgments, which is still subject of appeal, as to whether or not his fundamental rights have actually been infracted or infringed upon.